Hello and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is, wherever you are. I want to welcome you to the Kanawha Valley Hustlers podcast. My name is Joe Justice. I am your Kanawha Valley Hustler, and I want to remind you that coming up next week, September 19th, we are having the Marketing Secrets for Savvy Spins over at our friends at Up Next Charlie West. And I want to remind you that you do not have to be a member of Up Next Charlie West or the Charleston Area Alliance to join that. Anybody can join it, and I believe if this podcast is coming out when I think it is, this is the last day to join. So make sure, use the link. It'll either be in the description or in the comments, and join that. So I want to see you there. We're going to be talking about kind of the basic things that you need in place to understand if you're making any money on your advertising spend and making sure that you're getting some ROI. So I do want you to join me with that, and I hope to see you there. Coming up today, we are again here at the Kanawha County Library. This is a perfect location, and we've been having a great time here recording guests live as opposed to over Zoom. I really like the format here with talking to people live, so I might do this going forward. Drop me a comment. Let me know if you like this and maybe some other locations. Let me know. I want to hear from you guys. Send me an email, send me a message. Let me know what you think of this type of a format. All right, with all that said, with no further ado, I want to introduce Jon Casto. Jon is an RN at the ICU over at CAMC, and he is here to talk about, daily hustle and what's involved with that, but also about LifeWave. He's a director at LifeWave, and we want to get into it. So, with all that said, Jon, tell me, buddy, what's your hustle?
Hey, thanks for having me on, Joe. My hustle is it's a side business I do. Like you said, I am an ICU nurse. And my side business is it's an all-natural stem cell activation technology. For me, whenever I first heard of it, I had a lot of education that I needed to do because stem cells in the health and wellness sector is fairly new. I mean, we're still learning a lot about it. But the more I learn, the more I realize that the older we get, how important it is to have our stem cells activated. And so that's part of what I'm doing here. LifeWave has a technology out that is all natural, it's affordable, and it is just helping people in miraculous ways. And so I'm thankful to be a part of it.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about how does LifeWave, you say it's a technology, how is it a shot, is it a pill, is it a lotion? Tell me a little bit about it.
It's actually a little quarter-sized Band-Aid that you just put on your skin, you wear for 12 hours a day, and it uses light therapy to elevate GHK-Cu tripeptide, which is also responsible.
You're just making that up. That's not a real thing. You're just making up that.
No, it's researched, and I can even share the data with you. Would love to, actually.
Okay, cool.
So it uses light therapy. How I explain it to most folks is it's the same concept as everybody understands. If you get out in the sun, the sunlight signals our bodies to increase the vitamin D level.
Yep.
Well, that's what this patch does. It just signals our body, instead of to increase vitamin D levels, it increases the GHK-Cu tripeptide, which in turn elevates our dormant stem cells.
And so what does that do? What does stem cells do for you?
Stem cells are unique. So whenever we're young and growing, kids have a robust amount of stem cells. It's how they grow. It's how they're able to, fall down, take a few bumps and bruises, and take off and keep running. Their tissue is fresh, and so around age 30, our body's own stem cells start decreasing in production to about half of that of whenever we were growing as a child. By age 60, our body stem cells are almost non-existent. So that's also correlates with the age where we really start feeling and seeing the effects of aging and illness and disease. And so, that's why I say almost everybody needs their stem cells activated and elevated. And so there's a lot of different things. So even further into it, our stem cells are unique in that they're the only cell in the body that can turn into another cell. So let's say the stem cells are, just, floating around the body, and they run into damaged tissue, say like liver tissue or damaged liver or damaged cartilage in the knee or whatever. The stem cells can actually change into that type of cell and repair the damage that's been done.
Gotcha. And so does the LifeWave product target a particular age group, a particular type of person?
Just by the nature of it, Jon targeted folks, in their later years. I would say over 50, whenever those stem cells really start dying off. But I have found recently that I've helped people even in their 30s with them. So I'm trying to get outside the box of just putting it into one group of age category. I've used them with my daughter. So interestingly enough, the GHKCU tripeptide is also huge, and there's a lot of data and research on the GHKCU tripeptide and the benefits to it to our bodies, namely wound healing and skin. So my daughter had, she's 15 and had, typical kind of teenage acne. And I tried the patch on her, and within 7 days, her acne was completely cleared up.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's cool. So, and now you mentioned your daughters, and you mentioned you're an RN, and you've also got this little side business. So tell me, how do you keep up with all this stuff? What are your kind of day-to-day techniques for staying on top of everything?
Well, first of all, I'm going to shout out kudos to Mrs. Casto, because without her, we're done. So she's really the glue that holds this thing together for us as a family and as a wife and a mom. So my wife, Christo, we couldn't do it without her. But we stay busy. I mean, we really do. We're a busy family. My youngest daughter's in travel soccer. My oldest daughter is in theater and dance and the band and show choir. My middle daughter is pretty invested in soccer as well. And so, we stay busy. And that's actually why I work night shift at the hospital, because it kind of helps with our schedule. But we stay busy, and I try to just touch base with a few people a day about this stem cell, activation, the X39. And so, whenever I first started last October with it, I've been in that right a year now. I was finding myself having to, figure out ways to reach out to people to share that with them. Mm-hmm. Well, now that it's out there a little bit, I'm now trying to figure out how I keep up with everybody that's reaching out to me about it.
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah. So, and for me, after being in healthcare for 25 years, it's really nice because I have never seen anything like this before in my life. I've never seen lives changed like this technology is doing. And so it's so rewarding. It really is. Yeah.
And so you're at that point then, sounds like, where it's more about staying on top of everything as opposed to kind of generating the activity.
Yes, I would say that's very accurate. Yeah.
Well, that's a good problem, and that's I know I talk a lot about when it comes to the marketing discussions that I have with a lot of people is usually around getting that activity, and because that's usually that 0 to 1 point is usually the hardest thing for a lot of people to get into. But then once things start rolling in, then you got a whole new set of problems. So talk to me a little bit about some of the things that you do to, are you working on any kind of automations, or are you using any kind of a system, like a follow-up system, to be able to stay on top of people? What are you doing to make sure that you're meeting everybody's needs?
I do have an app that I use whenever someone reaches out to me or I make a new contact. It's actually an app designed by LifeWave. And so I just enter that in there, and then I can enter in like a follow-up date. And so I get an alert on my phone whenever I need to touch base with somebody, see how they're doing, reach back out to them, and just make that touch point.
Great. So you use technology to stay on top of things.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
I feel like everybody needs a system when it comes to that type of thing. Something that they could, whether it's, I know a lot of old timers just use a notebook and then, or a calendar. Remember back in the day, you'd always have that desk calendar.
Yeah.
You'd go into somebody's office and they'd always have that big desk calendar that they would put all their little to-dos on. Yeah,
I do. And I guess I'm a weird bird because I love my paper calendar, but I have kind of transitioned as technology's gotten better. So, as a family, we really see the value of our calendar on our iPhones, where everybody sees what's going on, who has what going on. So as I'm right in that weird age, I guess, to where I'm enjoying technology and the benefits that it's bringing us, but also old school guy that loves pen and paper as well.
Yep, I know that feeling. I'm the exact same way. Up until I got my Scribe, I still had a regular paper planner that I would write everything down for. Well, as we're starting to wrap up here, we're starting to come to the end of our time here, but I would like for you, could you give me some maybe testimonials or some great stories that involved LifeWave that I'm sure you've got a few that you'd like to share. I'd love to hear them.
I do, and I appreciate it. I almost have to rein this part in a little bit because this is where I start sounding crazy, okay? Because there are so many out there, and if I know all of these people that I'll talk about a few, and I know all of them personally. So it's not hard for me to grasp because I know them, I see them in real life. But one instance I'm thinking of is a buddy of mine who he asked to try the patch and didn't even tell me what he had going on, and I didn't pry, whatever. So about I would touch base with him, and it took about 2 weeks for him to see some results, but he was having Crohn's flares. And so he was also on a blood thinner because he had a pulmonary embolism. And so it was making his Crohn's worse because it was, increasing his potential to bleed. So he was having bleeding from his Crohn's for, upwards of 90 minutes a day, to the point where he couldn't leave the house. Yeah. Within 2 weeks of this, and part of the GHKCU tripeptide in the stem cells repair damaged tissue, so the lining of the colon is evidently being repaired by the stem cells, also, which is being, the inflammation's being dealt with. So after 2 weeks on the patch, he hasn't any bleeding since.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
He's not scheduled for a colonoscopy for a while, but I did talk to a vascular surgeon down in Tampa whose wife had Crohn's, and her colonoscopy is clear now because of the patch. Yeah. What else can I tell you? Knee pain, chronic knee pain, for folks in my age group, within a week or so, it's being relieved. Sleep, a lot of people are talk about that their sleep is better. I've got a couple of folks that have actually quantified that with their running watch and app that actually gives you a breakdown of what type of sleep you get. Their REM sleep is doubling. Let's see what else. Got diabetes. I had a guy just from Ohio tell me just on Sunday that his knee pain is completely gone. He's been on the patch for about 2 weeks, but his morning blood sugars are lower. So he was in 145 to 155 range every morning. Now he's 120 to 125 every morning. So, so his blood sugars are getting better, but yeah, so it's endless, the stories and the testimonies of people crying. People with MS, I can feel my legs again. I haven't felt my legs for 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so
that's really cool. So if somebody wants to reach out to you, get more information, get in touch with you, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
You can just call or text 304-389-2722. Or I'm on Facebook.
Okay, so you're going to look up, and I will tag you in the video and everything, but Jon Casto, make sure you check him out. Give that phone number one last time so that we have it.
It's 304-389-2722.
All right, Jon, thank you so much for joining us here today. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching here today. Hope you have a wonderful weekend, and hope that you get the opportunity, if you haven't yet, to sign up for the Marketing Secrets for a Savvy Spend. That's going to be over at the Charleston Area Alliance building on the 19th. I believe today is the last day to register, so click the link, join us. We'll see you then. Until next week, bye-bye for now.